Welcome back to Intel Extreme Masters World Championship from Katowice, Poland. QG Reapers and Fnatic are currently setting up on stage, and that means we're about to get into our second best of one. Let's take a quick look at the Group B bracket. After SK Telecom have already taken down CLG, they advanced to that winners match. The winner of this game will face off against SKT in a moment or two. And we are joined by Monte Cristo, swapping out for Deficio, who's gone to the caster desk. Let's talk about the game that we just saw a moment or two ago. SKT, Monty, I mean, no real surprise. I'm still quite shocked that CLG went for that tank top instead of playing to what I consider their strengths. But what's your take on their approach and decisions now you've had some time to digest it?
I don't think it was very good, Trevor.
Tell me why.
I think that you're right in that where has their success been against the other top teams in NA? It has been on Fiora, it has been on Jax, it has been on split pushers, and it has been on the Udyr this last week with the Zerat Portal. I don't think that Zerat Portal Gragas is analogous to Udyr. You just simply can push a lot faster with the Phoenix stance with Udyr. You can get in better positions to use that Zerat Portal in, and they had no other pressure. They were just split push to death. Not only that, but they never even had a chance to make plays in that game. Every single time they were slower on the TP. Every time they were not able to make these plays with teleport, even answer SK Telecom's more aggressive team fighting.
Well, it ended up costing CLG the game. It means SKT advanced. We're about to get ready for QG versus Fnatic, so let's head on stage where Shox will introduce the players.
Thank you very much, Trevor. I thought it happened again. It is indeed time to meet our players in our next match. First up, from the European LCS, semi-finalists at Worlds 2015 with an amazing history with IEM. Ladies and gentlemen, Fnatic. And their opponents today, a top team from the Chinese LPL, and their first ever appearance at IEM, Xiaogu Reapers.
And there we go. On the blue side for this matchup, it will be the Xiaogu Reapers taking on Europe's Fnatic. Let's quickly start by hearing from the QG Reapers as they talk about their attendance at the World Championship.
Currently terrorizing their opponents in the Chinese LPL, the Xiaogu Reapers have had the perfect start to 2016. With perfect 2-0s in their group and showing no signs of slowing down in round 2, the Xiaogu Reapers have emerged as the dominant force in China. Bolstered by their domestic performances, the Technicolor-haired Rascals will relish their chance to again cut their teeth on international opposition. The IEM World Championships may well prove to be their biggest challenge yet, with old rivalries to be rekindled and plenty of new ones to be forged.
And there you have it, the QG Reapers. I like hearing from the players. Take a look at the roster because, Crepo, you have some strong words about Moore. I know you're a big fan of Swift when he's performing well, and you've added so much input into the beginning of this match. I think you need to talk to me about these boys.
These boys, yeah, my boy Swift. No, Moore is interesting because when I played against him over in NA, I didn't think he was very good. Then he improved a little bit. Renamed as well. He kind of was like, haha, I'm no Moore anymore. I'm TCT at the time because his laner was TNT. And then this year I was like, damn, this Pickle kid, oh, he's good. He's really good. He's actually way better than T. Oh, it's the same player still, but he actually just improved. But it does turn out that it might be Uzi.
Yes, to highlight, Uzi is the substitute who is here on IEM, and QG Reapers have opted to start Uzi instead of Peko. What do you make of that change?
Well, actually, Uzi has a far higher loss rate for this QG Reaper team coming into this event. So perhaps this is a situation like SKT with Blank, where this event really doesn't have any effect on their domestic run so far, which is definitely more important to a lot of these teams over the course of the entire year. So why not get Uzi some more experience? Why not get Blank some more experience? Well, they can have an opportunity to play on an international stage, even though, of course, Uzi has tons of experience in that regard.
Yeah, but they also did hit a bump just right before Katowice. So I wonder if that plays into it, because Peko was playing that series against RNG where they were 2-0. Then, honestly, coming to that series, I expected QG to actually take it. So I was kind of surprised that RNG beat them 2-0 in the league. That may also contribute. We may also just have no absolute idea what we're talking about. I mean, would it be the first time?
A glowing endorsement for the expert desk there, Krep.
I like that one, Krep.
We may or may not know what we're talking about.
You just sound like
IEM expert desk.
There we go. All right, before this gets too silly, let's hear from Fnatic as they talk about joining us at the World Championships.
Fnatic, built around the core of Reckless and Forbidden, may be a little way away from their 18-0 LCS summer split form, but they are still a force to be reckoned with. Starting at Intel Extreme Masters Cologne, and after only 2 days playing together, Fnatic were only able to take the Chaogu Reapers to a Game 3 in the semi-finals, but the hallmarks of a great team and development were clear for all to see. Having time to settle into the EU LCS seems to have helped, but Fnatic are looking for a breakout performance against some of the best to bring their past world-beating status closer to their grasp. Klai has also shown promising signs as Fnatic's new support as this team continues to rebuild into the powerhouse that they once were.
Rebuilding, as Uber says in the video, Rome was not built in a day, and Fnatic are taking their time to try and piece things together. You can see the roster on your screen: Gamsu, Spirit, Febiven, Reckless, and Klai. Klai was brought in 2 weeks ago, and when he was brought in, Reckless was quite outspoken, saying, we're looking to IEM, we're looking to LCS playoffs, and they substituted Noxiac out in the hopes of finding some synergy and growth that we're not really seeing just yet from the local scene.
And they still got to work on those tough kid poses, because in the background of Reckless's shot, we saw Febiven crack a smile, and that's not allowed. You're supposed to be fierce, Fnatic. But yeah, Klai, they're still fitting him in. He's still a work in progress. The good thing about him is that he's not afraid to take a decisive call and stick with it. So we've seen him flash over Baron walls, flashing to go for a hook, multiple occasions. The good thing then is that it has paid off in some, and the bad thing is that it has brutally cost them in others. So he still needs to find that balance. But it's easier to tone a player down rather than to teach him how to play aggro, and I think that's a good foundation for Fnatic. But their issues still lie very much so in the vision control.
Monty, can I trigger you and ask you to talk a little bit about Spirit?
Any LCS right there.
You know what I'm going to say here. So I find this group very interesting because I look at CLG and Fnatic in some ways as mirrors of each other. So CLG is a team that doesn't have very strong individual players, but uses the resources that they have very well. We saw that against Immortals. We saw that up against Cloud9 in this last week. On the other hand, Fnatic is a team that has strong players, but I think has totally missed the mark on how you play around those players. How did Spirit do so well on WE? Constant invasion, playing Nidalee a lot last year, which he's played a lot this season, granted, but you need the wave clear and the pressure to maximize Spirit as a player and the way he likes to dive, the way he likes to kill the other jungler. And then I look at their game versus H2K this last week. Gangplank mid, Ezreal bot. Literally no pressure. Spirit can't do anything. I think this is a team that is not drafting well and not using the resources they have to the best ability they could.
And the man that you got to look at who has also somewhat been in the question is Febiven. Because when they do play around him, when he is given a champion that is enabled, he can shine. But it is not something we see all that often.
Yeah, and let's talk about Febiven. Last year, what did they do in their flawless summer run? Because Huni was absorbing so many bans, Febiven got the power picks, Azir and Victor, high wave clear, high pressure champions that allowed Reignover to do a lot of work out of the jungle. This season, some of the most popular high wave clear picks in terms of Corki and Victor again, he's played each of them once. Like I would love to see more wave clear out of the mid lane for Febiven to open Spirit up to the rest of the map.
I definitely agree with the point. I'm not that big of a Victor fan in current meta because I feel his lane is too weak early, but I definitely think Corki, like maybe even Lusano, just play something that wins lane forward and play around Feven. He is so good at the game.
I agree.
And very often Fnatic put him in this impossible situation by putting the prio on the wrong lanes. And then, yes, they need to fix these mistakes, like Gamsu split pushing and inhibit the tower at like, what, minute 9 in the game or something with the Maokai. Like, those things can't happen. Like, their vision needs to work. But, yeah, stylistically going to the game, pioneering around Feven and then allowing him to win his matchup, invade with Spirit, that should be the game plan because they can copy what G2 do because they have very similar players. Perkz and Feven can play a similar style. Trick and Spirit can play a similar style. Both of them will need to learn how to close in the mid game, but at least get there first.
Okay, get to that point. Let's talk about some of these other lanes because we've hit the jungle and the mid lane relatively hard, but let's also compare them against their opponents. You've now got Uzi and Moore going up against Reckless and Cly. What do you think of this 2v2 matchup, Krepo, and if we're even going to see them go head-to-head?
I mean, Fnatic will obviously want the lane swap. You never want to play QG straight up 2v2, 1v1. But yeah, ban Alistar, ban Braum. If you've done your research, make sure none of them make it to Moore, and he's just a significantly weaker player.
Yeah, his Morgana left a lot to be desired last week. Do you feel the same can be said of maybe Gamsu in the top lane for Fnatic? I feel like he's not really showed up unless he's on a tank, and even then.
Well, he's been forced to play tanks for most of this season. That's what I think is another problem. We really haven't even seen what Gamsu's capable of when it comes to more carry-oriented top laners because it's been so much Maokai, it's been so much Nautilus. We saw a glimmer of it actually in week 1 of the ULCS when he had that great Olaf game. But it's been tanks, tanks, tanks. I don't really know what the plan is here for Fnatic because Reckless is a great low econ 80 carry. He's a very good player. But you don't build a team to feed Reckless. That's not the way you use him to his, I think, highest capacity.
All right, and his opponent now, let's go Gamsu's opponent in the top lane, V. Lots of Poppy, lots of Nautilus. He's got a couple of Fiora games thrown in there, but we're also seeing those tanks. And another Chinese squad, very limited experience on 6.3. I think it's just 1 week in the LPL. The ZZ Rot's not a thing there, but it is something that Fnatic's been playing around. I actually think that may have been the first EU LCS team.
Yeah, in terms of adaptation, I feel like V might be the one member that adapts quickest because the early picks of Poppy when they came to the LPL, V was one of the guys playing, and I actually enjoyed watching him play it. So I think he did well there. He does just well on tanks, mostly because just QG, like they spike and build towards teamfights, and tanks obviously just fit way better into teamfights than just some of these hard carries.
Explain to me the team identity of QG. I know we've said it a ton. I know we've said that China as a region are bad at lane swaps except Snake. Everybody throws that out there. Team fighting is good. We like some of their individual players. What else about QG can we help explain what to expect in this match?
Really good at using Ezreal, I feel.
Yeah, QG. Also, the Victor play, of course, coming out of Doinby.
Yeah.
Very good teleport Victor play. We usually see that banned out against him. He throws LeBlanc in there sometimes, but that's definitely been, over the past year, his #1 pick.
Definitely. And just the one thing that the LPL never sees to surprise is that their Ezreal seem to be really good at sniping people. Maybe it's just Asian teams because Bang did it twice.
I was going to say, Bang has something to say about that after the previous performance.
I'm sure Uzi can do it too. So in terms of team identity, they will need to funnel a little bit more farm into Uzi right now. Need to see how he works with more. They just have, they're stronger in the normal lane setup if they can then start fighting around objectives and team fight. And the strength of it is that they understand when to kite back and when to re-engage. And a lot of teams, they start fighting, but they never break up the fight to fight then again. And that is just being on the same page because I don't even think you can communicate that. It just goes too quickly.
Well, Monte Cristo, I have a question for you that Deficio and Krepo were talking about earlier in the day. They were mentioning how QG almost invent new ways to fall behind.
Yes.
And then manage to pull themselves back in. How much do you agree with the statement?
I
can you expand?
100% agree with it. It's like they're trying to learn lane swaps by going back in time to a year ago, and it's almost like they're trying to reinvent the wheel because we look at their matches last week, especially versus Royal, and they do this bizarre
level 1 invade,
four-man level 1 invade where they just lose the experience edge in the 2v2 because both teams swap to top. Yeah. They're playing red side, they invade the blue buff on the blue side, and then the duo comes into lane late, they get absolutely crushed. There's a 5-man gank in the top lane that kills them, and then they take the turret, and then MLXG and the rest of Royal just absolutely snowball the ever-loving crap out of that game.
And it's not like they were playing a very push-oriented bot lane. No, of course not. Lucian Morgana doesn't care about pushing the lane at all. Oh, wait, they do. And then Moore forgets the Black Shield and gets hooked in full vision, trying to freeze a wave, 2v1. It was absolutely horrendous. So QG make these very peculiar.
And that wasn't even a lane swap. That was just a really bad level 1 strat where they thought maybe the lane swap would occur. So this is something that we would have seen last year, let's say, in Season 5. But in Season 6, with a lot of the changes to these camps, and that's just not
You don't start 4 people in the same quadrant ever, because historically people have shown that you can get punished the crap out of you and then you just lose the game. And who wants to lose the game level 1? I don't think anybody does. So QG do a little bit more research. But then they surprise though. While they invent like new ways to kind of fall behind, they also invent new ways to win a team fight when you think it's all over. They just play so well. They turn in fights. They kite. Like we've said the same thing over and over. And especially like Alistar and Braum Moore. He's actually really good at soaking up skill shots. Like I'm actually impressed by his ability to time when he needs to eat a hook for his opponent, for his ally, or when he can rely on them flashing it. It's actually very impressive.
Yeah, great support play. And I want to hit now on some of the picks and bans because the players are starting to jump into the lobby. Monty, you've mentioned Doombee's Teleport Victor, considered ban-worthy. We know more on the Braum and the Alistar's fantastic. His Morgana's Black Shields last weekend were a little late, let's say that. But if there's a lot of high priority bans that you want to look at getting rid of in those lanes, what should Fnatic be considering going into this? I mean, we can't presume to think in their heads, but what would you be looking at?
Corki. Get the Corki, use the Corki to push. What this match holds in store for me and what I really want to see is just duels between Spirit and Swift. These are both very mechanical junglers, great on Lee Sin, great on Nidalee. That's what I want to see is a lot of back and forth between these two junglers and an emphasis on carry-style jungling from both of these teams.
Well, we need to see if they're going to work out that way, because when Spirit debuted with Fnatic at IEM Cologne, he only played Nidalee. Only. And it actually started a miniature hate train for Nidalee in terms of how much, because at the time, there was a lot of debate about how good it was. Now, it's considered one of the best junglers.
I mean, I was completely on the anti-Nidalee train until I saw the light, which meant, like, actually, you know.
The light was Runic Echo.
Yeah, that, and the fact that you don't have to gank, you actually just keep farming and you just do it quicker. Every camp is like 1 or 2 seconds extra, and then suddenly you're 2 or 3 camps ahead, and then you go gank and go, surprise, I'm a full level ahead of you. That is the way Nidalee operates. But then you need strong lanes that can survive on their own, add pressure for you to maybe get camps in the enemy jungle and just win that game that way.
Sure, but I mean, when Runic Echoes came out, that makes it even worse because there's a 10%, as of we stand right now in 6.3, a 10% movement speed bonus on that Nidalee. So she just rips through your jungle even faster now, and that becomes hugely problematic.
All right, the fact that QG are on the blue side, have the option to potentially first pick that, deny that from Fnatic. Is that something they're willing to do? Will your boy Swift be able to pull some pressure for that?
I don't think they're going to first pick Nidalee because I feel like Fnatic will pincer in other picks, kind of. I feel like, so Fnatic is purple side, so they will have to bank Kalista, almost guaranteed. I think they've done their research and they will ban out. I mean, I'm kind of cheating here because we see more. I think that's more warming up. He's in a test game. This is what LCS players do, by the way. We're not very smart people. When we go in a test game, we warm up with the champion that we are most likely to play inside game. He just picked Thresh, so I think they're expecting the Braum and the Alistar ban / steals coming out, and bold prediction, I think Moore will play Thresh this game.
Okay, that's a good distraction, but let's go back to the original point of Nidalee first pick. If you're not going to, like, how will Fnatic pincer either that or will they remove it completely?
Supports are just AD. Like, there will be like a Corki open maybe. Like, something has to, Fnatic doesn't have enough bans.
It's interesting, right? Because Corki's only been played by Febiven once this split, and it was fairly recently. He has been trying to get his hands on Lissandra over and over and over, and has looked good on that champion. But, you know, DeFisher was talking earlier, he just wants early aggression from Fnatic, an early game jungler, maybe strong laners. It's how they beat Roccat. It's not saying a lot in the European LCS. But it was their most coordinated, most controlled performance over in Europe. So do you echo the sentiment?
100%.
Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we have 5 out of 10 players in the lobby. Unfortunately, I'm not quite sure what the holdup is for QG. I will get an update to you guys in just a few minutes. For now, actually, we will take a very short ad break, and when we come back, it'll be QG versus Fnatic.
If your PC is dated and tests your nerves more than your skills, is it time for a new one? Get the Intel Extreme Masters Limited Edition PC, built with the same components that the pros play on at the Intel Extreme Masters. Money from every certified PC bought goes to the Intel Extreme Masters prize purse. Only in the best stores in your region. They come with a certificate and a unique holographic sticker. Play like the best and support eSports with the new limited edition Intel Extreme Masters PCs based on Intel Core processors.
And welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. Welcome back to Intel Extreme Masters World Championships, brought to you here live from Katowice, Poland. I am in the right city, I promise. We are still trying to triage the problem with the Xiaogu Reapers. So while we're trying to figure that out, you guys make sure you install Google Chrome. Go check out the program that I've been talking about all weekend long, Plays.tv. It's a Chrome extension. It allows you to use a single hotkey, cut a macro from a stream that you're busy doing. It allows you to publish it to Reddit, to Twitter, to Instagram, and everywhere like that. So make sure you guys check it out. Before we carry on talking about the QG Reapers taking on Fnatic, we caught up with Reckless to talk a little bit about the tournament, his performance, and the substitute with Cly. Let's hear what he had to say.
Days a week, and we try our hardest on a daily basis.
If you let me in, by the way, I would have said like
constantly looking to improve meta to meta. So I wouldn't say we made any special changes going into IEM, but then again, it's a very, very important tournament for us as we're struggling somewhat in the LCS and we are looking for higher grounds than we're currently at. So IEM could be a very good opportunity to prove ourselves. I think our team condition right now is on the rise. I feel like with Clyback coming in, we managed to bring the group together on a more stable level, perhaps. And also traveling around together makes the unit more cohesive. And I think we have a good chance of like becoming a really good team here, even though the results might not show it so far, and even though maybe the results are not coming with it from IEM. I still feel like just having the opportunity to travel with one another brings the group together on such a different level from what you usually have, so we'll be perhaps one level ahead of the other teams on that front going into playoffs. 2014 when I was here with the old Fnatic squad and we finished second in the League of Legends tournament, and it felt really special to play here with the amount of people watching live, and it's very rare as well because LCS is becoming more and more of a habit and less exciting in the size of like the arena or the arena itself. So getting to leave that behind you and come here to Poland is a really special feeling, and I was really sad that I missed out on it in 2015, but I feel like coming back now gives me the opportunity to once again surprise people, because even back in 2014 we were on the downfall in the LCS. I think we dropped 8 games in a row right before we went to IEM, and then we surprised a lot of people by finishing second, and I feel like something similar can happen this year as well. But as I said before, even though the results might not come with it, I still feel like just the fact that you get to travel with one another is really, really important for the team's atmosphere.
And it's great to see Fnatic in, still trying to keep the spirits up, talking about the social life, talking about traveling with the team. And, it's something that we're very fortunate to do with the eSports and Intel Extreme Masters World Championships. Crepa, you've traveled with teams, you've lived in gaming houses, you've experienced everything that Reckless was talking about in that video.
I mean, I've been here at Katowice once. I couldn't go last year, so that's actually the main reason I retired. I was like, I gotta make damn sure that I can't come here again, and I don't think I'll be good enough to get here, so I decided to become a caster and join you guys. But that, on a serious note, the traveling, there's no such thing that, like, there's a bond that you get created. Like if a bot lane goes to a tournament, shares a room, having Yellow Pete snore in the middle of the night, it just creates this untouchable bond that you just can't let go, and it's different,
I think you and Yellow Pete may have had an unhealthy relationship based off of frustration and anger.
No, I snored way more than him, so he had issues. But he was a steady sleeper. That was our synergy, I snore and he didn't really care, and it all flowed well from there.
As you can tell, ladies and gentlemen, the players are still sorting out the technical issues on stage.
What do you mean, as you can tell? This is valid analysis and information.
I'm sure it is.
Context is everything.
To some people, Crepo. We are jumping into the new lobby. We'll see how this pans out and plays. But, for Fnatic, this is a team that has a lot of expectations. They won 5 out of 6 LCS titles. They surprised everybody last year with the Huni Rainover combo. They not only lost their players this year, but they also lost the support staff. They lost ISPA, they lost some of their analysts to H2K, to TSM, etc. As somebody who actually has a team and has experience in this, how difficult is it plugging in new analysts, plugging in new support staff to a team of players?
I mean, you might want to check
Not
that
great.
out. Might want to check that out. Monty.
Thanks, Crepo. Thanks a lot for the advice there. Next time you own a team, I'll
Hey man,
check in on that with you.
if you need any advice on losing teams, you know, in relegations.
Okay, great. I'll look to you for that one. But it is obviously very difficult. You have to have a very strong identity in terms of your coaching staff and a through line and an alignment between everyone as to this is how we're going to play this game. This is the strategies we want to operate and the style we want to play with these players. And so plugging people in with new ideas who may not be accustomed to that it's tough. It's very tough.
Yeah, it is something that's challenging. And Fnatic, they're quite outspoken about Daylor. Daylor brings the head coach figure to a gameplay, and he's actually relatively outspoken himself in terms of the game knowledge he brings versus the authority figure and the problem solving that he inputs into the organization and then the support staff.
Yeah, it just has a very clear vision, and I think that's one thing that we at least have to respect. Many coaches in the LCS seemingly have not at least openly communicated a vision for their team, so I like that. But at one point, you have to put that into question. Not quite yet, but I think looking at Summer, Fnatic still hasn't progressed, and then we can start questioning that vision, because we still don't know if it was, you know, all up to Daylor, if it was luck. You know, obviously he played a large part in it in Summer, but he had a lot of talent to work with, and it's easier to make winners into better winners, but it's very hard to mold a struggling team to get them to the top, because everybody else is
I'm going to
still...
use that as my excuse. Thanks, Crepo. Got one now.
It is a good one. We should be getting close to picks and bans, ladies and gentlemen, but just very briefly, let's talk about some of the coaching stuff, because we're seeing the Western world maybe start to catch up to Korea and China in that regard. What's your take on seeing some of the organizations in the LCS bringing in the supports and analysts and coaches?
You ready for the rant?
Tell me.
For the rant here?
Yeah, I am. See you guys.
So, I think the existence of the Coup Tigers last year blew that notion entirely out of the water. These guys were one coach, 5 players in a tiny apartment in Seoul that I visited. They didn't have these analysts. They didn't have sports psychologists. Grill opened up recently on his stream. They didn't even have money for air conditioning.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm sorry, Western teams. This is a team that made the World Finals under the most sort of adverse conditions possible with just a bare bones support staff. Play better, straight up.
Yeah, Monty. Brad Renegades, play better.
Play better. That's what the Western teams need to do. We'll see if Fnatic can take that advice. We are into picks and bans for the Xiaogu Reapers taking on Fnatic. Malphite, Lissandra, Lulu out of the pool. Victor Nidalee, there goes the Nidalee debate that we've had earlier. But both Alistair and Braum were available until the last ban. Any surprises there for you, Crepo?
Kalista is open against Uzi. That's one surprise. And QG, after a solid 10 seconds, hasn't insta-locked it just yet. That's the second surprise.
2 surprises early, but we talked about the Braum and the Alistair coming in as major picks for QG.
They have to pick Kalista. There's no way around it.
Why? Why do you
so strong? I mean, if your support that ends up dying a lot because he gets caught and he can't play his 2 favorite champions, well, then save him, you know? Fates call him in, throw him back in. Let's use his corpse for CC or something.
A lot of options being thrown around. It will be the Braum as the last lock-in. So Kalista Gragas, Kalista something else
Kalista Corki.
For Fnatic. Reckless has played a lot of Kalista and played good Kalista.
I don't get this at all. I mean, this Kalista and Corki being up as possible first picks on the red side is kind of mind-boggling. Spirit's going to go after the Gragas.
Fevin doesn't like playing it though, doesn't seem, and maybe just wants to get the counter pick. Maybe he's waiting to just pick LeBlanc into whatever Duembe's going to play and beat it with some CC jungle pressure, because like Gragas LeBlanc, Gragas Lissandra, that can dumpster any mid laner that Duembe plays.
I think though that if we come in here and we see a Corki Ezreal Braum composition, that's a huge setup for a poke and siege comp. Could also be Lucian Corki if they wanted to roll that way. So QG, they have a real opportunity, I think, here to take away a lot. Taking away that Lucian early is just unnecessary though, but they're going to do it.
Yeah, the Nautilus goes over. Fnatic, there was a case to be made for picking Kalista Nautilus on the first rotation too. Just put Gamsu on arguably the best tank right now. Just having split push. Let's see if Fnatic finally enables him to play something more carry-oriented into the Nautilus, because you can beat it.
Well, there's your carry.
There it is. There's top grade.
Oh yeah, because there's no more flex, because Ragus is already locked in.
Yep.
Ah, predicted it.
So what do you think of Gamsu playing now this Graves as opposed to tanks traditionally?
This is what we wanted to see.
I like it.
This is what we wanted to see, was get him away from the tanks, open him up, at least try to have him play a more high-pressure game.
And
You
this
can
is, of
actually-
course, a more forgiving carry top laner because Graves becomes a quasi-tank with his build and true grit.
Oh
as
yeah,
well.
no, it's actually, and it's just a very simple play pattern too. Push, push, poke, hit the tower, so it makes it very easy for the rest of Fnatic. What does my top laner do? Well, it's Graves and he's going to AFK push. You can maybe dive, Nautilus is a little tricky, but you have a lot of damage and you can whittle down a Nautilus. I'm not too familiar with the matchup because I've seen Cabochard. Usually when I study matchups, I look at what players do and then I watch Cabochard. Okay, he plays Graves into Nautilus. Beats it convincingly. A good matchup. Game later, he plays Nautilus into Graves. I'm like, beats it convincingly. It's a good matchup. So yeah, I need some more sample size there.
We do need to figure this out. Nautilus top,
So it's
jungle Echo.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Is that where the expectation will be here for Swift?
Echo was buffed on this patch. His Time Winder does have a better clear now, a little bit more damage on that. So interesting, certainly not something we've seen in a while.
I wonder if he's running Storm Raiders on that, because I really like that on Echo. You go in for the burst and then you get the really surge of movement speed to get out again.
Yeah.
And then you can really position creatively with the ultimate. It's also one of the pick, if you play that champion a lot better than your opponents, you will dictate the pace of these like fights because you can outplay people because it's so rarely seen these days. It's like one of these niche picks that people are not used to playing against anymore. Like kind of like when a Bard comes into the equation too, people just aren't really adapting to the pullback from the ultimate from the Echo.
So it's just a little bit of a surprise. Fnatic will have to figure out how they handle this. A little bit of Echo experience is there for both Febiv and Reckless, as we saw that actually last year in Fnatic's hands. Echo's Q cooldown was reduced on that Time Winder. So
that was the buff. Sorry, I forgot. Yeah,
see how it works out in Swift's hands. And the last lock-in here for Fnatic is the Ahri. So a slightly different flavor team composition that we're seeing from Fnatic. Maybe a little bit more in line with something that DeFisher was talking about, some more early aggression, some slightly stronger laning champions. What's your take in this, Monty?
Yeah, I like seeing this, but that said, they're not going to have a lot of late game answer to this split push. I have no idea what to think about this jungle Echo right now. Obviously, he's going to be very elusive with the speed boost from the Runic Echoes, and he's probably going to be doing a lot of damage, but I'm really looking forward to seeing Swift, who's a very mechanical player, take this jungler.
They have two tanks though to play around, so they can build him like really very, very heavy damage oriented.
Yeah.
What worries me is that I think QG needs to lane swap, and that worries me very, very much so. Because whenever I look at the draft, I'm like, okay, what lanes win? I think Zed and LeBlanc, Zed and Ahri rather has to go even with a slight edge to Ahri early because of the push. Then Kalista Thresh will beat any melee support, especially Lucian Braum, unless they kind of lose an all-in, but they have exhaust to prevent that, so that lane wins. Graves will have the push advantage, generally. An early gank from Gragas, so...
Hold that thought for me, gentlemen. Give me your predictions with a final thought as we head to the caster desk. Monty.
I'm actually going to take Fnatic here. I think Crepo's right. If they play standard lanes, they're in losing lanes, and they're bad at lane swapping, so I think Fnatic's got it.
Crepo?
See, that was my initial suspicion. I think Fnatic will get it in the early and then throw it in a team fight or something.
Throw it in the team fight. Yeah. Fnatic and QG were split on the analyst desk. It's time to head over to the shoutcasters to take us into game.
Thank you very much, guys. I am joined by the man that gives out advice on stream. We'll see what pearls of wisdom he will offer today. But DeFisio, what do you make of the pick and ban phase? Pretty exciting and aggressive for me.
Yeah, some surprises. We don't often see like a Zed being blind picked, Echo jungle coming in. Was buffed yes in this patch, mainly just in the early game. 2 seconds shorter cooldown on the Q. Rank 5, it's still 7 seconds. That hasn't changed anything, so his late game is not better because of it. I think Fnatic, though, got a very, very strong pick and ban phase.
You were excited about this.
Oh, I
like
like it.
This is what I want to see. This is what I want to see.
Yeah, this is what we talked about earlier, how when Fnatic plays these super scaling comps, they fall really far behind early game and have to like team fight their way out. Have been able to win a few games against weaker teams, and then also G2, who couldn't close out the game at all. QG wants you to play late game, so I like the change.
Fight as well.
Exactly, so I really like this change here. Super strong 2v2 lane. I think Reckless and Cly is a better 2v2 lane than Moore, what he can offer at least. Uzi, of course, is fantastic, but this lane is super strong. Kalista Thresh. Ahri into Zed. Ahri will struggle a little bit in the early game. Zed can be a bit of a bully. Get your arm guards, get some armor on the way, get a fairly early hourglass, and you can actually hold the Zed in a split push very effectively. So I like this pick and ban phase from Fnatic.
Well, both teams saying they are ready. Swift has resumed the game, so we'll be back underway, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Second game of the day. We've already seen SK Telecom T1 taking down Counter Logic Gaming in the first game. So the winner will be facing SKT and the loser up against CLG. Fnatic Xiaogu Reapers, who is going to take it?
It's going to be a tough one, honestly. Coming into this tournament, I felt like QG would be the better team. But looking at the pick and ban phase, I really, really like what Fnatic has been building. And QG is a team, together with RNG, who does have sometimes a little bit weird pick and ban phases, different priorities for some of these LPL teams. Doing B in the mid lane, he's super, super, super aggressive in the way he's playing. If he doesn't have Swift around him, he can get ganked so easily because he will jump in your face when you don't expect it.
Yeah, well, with an Echo, that's going to be a very aggressive partnership. Expect to see Doinb helping out with Swift diving in. Something for Bivens going to have to be very careful because almost certainly will be the target. Trying to blow that flash early on.
Yeah, it's a super good point. QG likes to play around mid lane a lot because they have a super aggressive mid laner who wins his lane by surprising you in a lot of trades. And then also play around bottom lane. Because either you have Pekko, who is a fine laner, or you have Uzi, who is a fantastic laner and wants to win lane to kind of snowball. So it's a bit of a change from QG as well. It's not like super late game focused on their side because you have the Zed in there, Lucian as well without a whole lot of buffs around him. We should have a very impactful, a very exciting mid game.
What about this Graves versus Nautilus in the top lane? You were talking about how he's potentially going to bully him a little bit early, get that aggression in there. Can we see Gamsu turn up, deliver the performance that he gave in the very first week of the EU LCS?
Yeah, so this matchup, Nautilus early game has super good base damage on his E. Oh, let's see what happens around red buff, Lee.
Oh, at the moment, more.
They're fighting red buff and each other.
Why not? Go straight for it. Uzi's getting the damage down. It's Fnatic. They're going to have to tank it out here, and they're not backing away from this one. As you'd expect, the Chinese, they want to get aggressive. They could go aggressive. They get the stun down on Gamsu. Uzi continuing to pull the damage down. They finally have to respect it. And that was a great invade from Xiaogu. That forces Fnatic out from their own red buff. Spirit is going to be hurting from that.
We had Fnatic do exactly the same play on the bottom side, though. Reckless and Clyde were invading in on the red buff. Didn't manage to stop it though. Swift picked up the red buff. He's now going to get a second one because they managed to pull him away. And notice the way Uzi was dancing there. He was never in range of the red buff itself to take damage from it. Just always out of range. So he was hitting one member. Red buff was hitting the other one, making sure QG could force them away. And now we just straight into the lane swap. And Fnatic is very early on the tower. So this is more important than taking the red buff. Taking red buff doesn't have a whole lot of value because you're not ganking in a lane swap anyway. And you get more experience from the camps now. It's about how fast you get to tower, and QG is extremely bad at realizing what tempo means in lane swaps. Well, if you're behind in swaps, you often end up losing more and more and more, and it snowballs out of control.
It looks like they might have been listening because with 4 people, that generally takes down the tower quicker than 3.
Yes, and that's a super good adaptation. If you are behind on the lane swap, it's normally 3 versus the tower and 1 guy farming, the jungler is farming. If you're behind, pull in your jungler. Yes, he will sacrifice a camp, but you take down the tower so much faster. So good adaptation by QG.
Well, these towers look like they're going to fall pretty much at the same time. Both Fnatic and Xiaogu will get it. But obviously, while this has all been happening, Spirit has been off farming alone as we get a pause in once again. Well, okay.
Clyde instant leaving the game.
Doesn't look like it's Fnatic.
Well, Clyde just left the game.
Clyde's dropped the game, yeah, okay. So it must be Clyde's PC. Yeah, you can see Dave, the admin down the end there, is like, yeah, my PC's kind of like bombed out. It's not in the game right now. Dave's like, yeah, you're not.
I think he's just surprised that QG actually understood a lane swap. He's like, hold on. We're playing the wrong team here.
This is their way of doing a tactical timeout.
Pause.
Just like, whoa.
Like, that's actually super smart. This is, like, when I talked to a lot of the LPL casters, they were kind of highlighting QG's way of lane swapping was often focused on take a tower and then try and freeze a lane, which is not very good, and they didn't like it. It was something like just QG was doing on their own. Instead of adapting to a lot of the swaps, this is such a good change. Pull your jungler in to fast push that tower because you're already behind, then you catch up and they actually take down the tower exactly the same time, or almost the same time. We're talking like 2 seconds.
Yeah, we're back in the game, guys. Both towers just fell down. There you go. V taking the top one. So, let's see how they do this lane swap. Let's see how it works out, because you can see V is holding that line.
Yeah, basically you want to bounce the wave, so start pushing towards you, and you can pick up some farm as these top laners here who often get denied. Fnatic, though, when they play Kalista, they like to force 2v2 lanes. So they don't do what we normally see. Normally you would send your 80 carry support to top side and push out their wave against Nautilus and deny him farm and take another tower. They like to put Kalista towards the bottom side of the map, and then have their support ward for their top laner who's gonna walk into this lane up top here that's pushing away. So they're sacrificing Gamsu to give Reckless and Klein a 2v2 lane and use Kalista Thresh for what they do well, which is laning. So you can see Klein, your minimap, he's been warding up on top side, a pink ward near the red buff, and then a ward here in the river. That means Gamsu can now push out and take this wave that's pushing away from him on top side, and he can spot a potential gank. I'm not sure I like it too much, but it puts so much focus on getting 2v2 lane. They're behind in experience though. Reckless and Klein only level 2, so they have to wait for this wave. You can see Reckless is not showing himself, he's just hiding. And also doing Gromp together with Spirit, waiting for the wave to be pushed up. Now Gamsu's gonna show top, and suddenly Fnatic are putting everything on this 2v2 lane.
A lot of pressure. Let's see if they can deliver. Reckless, superstar in the past. He made his name way back at IPL 5 against the old Chinese team WE. Back then it was World Elite. That was the original World Elite. Very different team, of course, these days, but that's when he was a young prodigy, just 15 years old. Uzi, you could argue, has took the same path over in China. Very much similarities between the two.
And Uzi really wants to get a rematch versus Faker in the next game. I mean, twice.
Well, this is Uzi's chance because he's not been having the best of times over in the LPL. This is his chance to shine. He's going to try and take this full on. Obviously, Pico is here, so he's not the only one that's been brought along. Pico is here, but clearly he's been given the opportunity here. He didn't get Kalista, but he is on Lucian.
And that's the thing. Uzi has been the sub for this lineup here because he's more of a lane bully, and QG is more of a late game focused team. Not often putting all the eggs into the early game. In this game, they are putting a lot of focus on early game, picking that Lucian, getting the Zed in mid lane as a blind pick. We see that early arm guard we talked about. Reckless taking some damage.
Great combo straight away there, getting the stun down. They will put him in, but here comes the danger. Reckless is in trouble. Doinb dives on towards it, takes the initial tower hits, and juggles it beautifully for Uzi to pick up first blood.
And all this, again, it comes from the lane swap. Remember, Fnatic were also invading in on that red buff before walking down to the bottom lane, then fast pushing tower and recalling with Reckless. So he barely picked up any experience on his own. So he's only level 3 to level 4 or 5 now of Uzi. So you're going to get pushed into tower. QG then says, we have a Zed in mid lane who can early push on Ahri. That means we can roam. Doinb roams to bot lane, dives in with the Echo, picks up first blood. Great early play from QG and a lot more aggressive in the early game compared to what we normally see over in the LPL where they're waiting for mistakes from the other team. They are proactive now, understanding how they had an advantage in the bottom lane. And this is also Fnatic putting so much focus on getting a 2v2 lane despite being behind in experience.
How are they going to adapt? Chagu bite first.
Yeah, for now there's barely anything Fnatic can do because you can't really dive Nautilus.
You were just about talking about Nautilus. There is a big differential in terms of farm between him and Gamsu. Gamsu, you can see, sticking out, keeping the pressure on towards VV is just about keeping him at bay, but there is that big gap forming, as well as this gap in the mid lane for Bivin. Build up quite an advantage, of course. That's because Doinb just went away to go get that gank. That's where that difference comes, and well, the assist kind of makes up for it.
And I personally think this matchup actually gets better and better for Febivin. Now he has early armor, he can get the hourglass.
Right.
When Zed ultis onto you, he will always appear behind you. You just put your charm straight behind you. He can't jump back in time because there's a 0.5 second delay on his jump back with ulti, and you can actually charm him. And then you can combo him and you have hourglass to survive the damage after. And we also see Fnatic put full focus on top side of them, if you look at the wards, just to allow Gamsu to play aggressive. He's the man right now who is to push in, take that tower, just slowly chip it down, because Fnatic will be losing the bottom side of the map and they might get dove one more time if Doinb can roam.
Well, Spirit did just get his very first red buff, so that's back on the table for him. There was a lot of pings from Chaogu and a continuing to ping on the blue buff of Fnatic. Now, they've been pinging on this for a while. Everybody's just been back to buy, so this is now Chaogu's time, possibly. They've all just stacked out those items to maybe start going aggressive.
This meta is all about understanding where's your strong lane, which side of the map is it on. Okay, that's where we play. Strong lane for QG is the bottom side because Uzi is ahead of Reckless. That means you can start invading on enemy blue buffs. You also have a non-mana user in the mid lane against a mana user. So getting that blue buff makes it a lot easier for Zed to play this lane and not risk getting poked and poked and poked and forced out.
They just spotted out Swift at the top lane. Gamsu saw him. They did have a ping ward there and immediately has triggered Spirit going straight down. They were looking at a bit of a wraparound and immediately Uzi and Moore did react. They backed away from that one.
And I don't like Swift going top lane here at all because it's been completely warded by Fnatic. QG saw the move in there earlier And by him showing top, it actually allows Fnatic now to invade and get wards on the bottom side, and it forces Uzi to back away. Fabian also knows where the jungler is, so he can go aggressive on tower, and look how he's just staying towards bottom side, because he knows his jungler is there, enemy jungler is not. So I really do not like Swift showing top side here, because there's no chance of him actually ganking Gamsu at this point.
They're trying to react to it. Oh,
Clyde,
been
you're
caught
level 4.
completely in no man's land here. He's got no support. He's going to be an easy pickup for Uzi here. There we go. That's not what you want to do. You do not want to feed. That was a teleport just came in from V onto blue buff.
I think V was expecting a potential fight, trying to save Clyde. Spirit is caught behind enemy lines.
He is way out of position. This is just deep, deep stuff. That ulti, let's see if he can get away from it. Doesn't get the stun, but there is enough of a slow coming down on him.
He's out.
He's going to get out. Yeah, there's nobody to stop him above. And the teleport's already just been used.
And now Gamsu can push really hard for this tower. Fabian just has to escape this gank from V.
And the hook, no problem. Just uses the ulti. Rushes away from it. Will clear out the pink ward as well. So, okay, let's see what opportunities this is potentially opened up. Reckless, of course, had a bit of free time down the bottom there, but now this is going to be another turret going Xiaogu's way. That will even things up 2 for 2. But they have those 2 important kills on Uzi. And, you know, we found out many, many times this 2 times finalist in the World Championships is a man you don't want to give an advantage to.
No.
It's just he will absolutely rip your arm off, as the old adage goes.
If QG can win the early game, they will be even stronger in the late game than they already are. They're normally fighting like 5k gold behind and winning team fights anyway. Give them an early lead, especially to the AD carry, who has been struggling quite a bit in the LPL. I mean, Uzi is here to show something. He wants to win that spot. He also wants to move on, face Faker in the next match, and then go into the semi-final. So he's off to a perfect start.
Big difference, of course, is that it is a double AD carry. Gamsu has got a little bit of an advantage building over V, but they're going to be playing very different roles come the team fights. But this turret in the mid lane barely touched. Doing B not really had a lot of help there, and Reckless, Forbidden, sorry, taking down that turret with ease. The hook doesn't land, and this invade is going to give Xiaogu all the control of this top lane, which you can see they're building up towards.
I like the play again. They understand that Reckless is freezing the bottom lane. He's no threat to any tier 2 tower because he's so far away from the lane. Instantly, you just rotate top. You had a wave coming. If Fnatic can wave clear, then they can buy a lot of time for Reckless. If not, tower goes down. For now, they did defend it. Another wave coming, and this means Reckless can catch up and farm, because right now Uzi is not farming. He's running between lanes with his team, holding hands, talking about the good old days, most likely, and Reckless is just farming up on his own.
Well, not so sure about those good old days anymore, sadly. They've got a lot to prove. Rift Herald going to get picked up by Xiaogu. While this is all happening, Reckless is having a whale of a time down that bottom. He's got that ward coverage in the river, but dare not push too much further. They have knowledge. They haven't got this Rift Herald just yet. Spirit's going to come in. Doesn't manage to get the steal, but now Swift's in trouble. Tries to rewind away. Forbidden comes in. That exhaust is going to run out, but Uzi's putting the damage down. He's going to get the knockoff, and Uzi will get himself a 3rd kill. Now, could he follow through? Well, is he going to feel aggressive? You're damn right he is, because V manages to land the ulti. Spirit gets caught out, and Doing B gets a kill as well. 4 for 0 to Xiaogu Reapers.
Fnatic feeling they have to try and fight for this Rift Herald despite Gamsu being on the other side of the wall. He couldn't really join, trying to just catch one target after taking some damage. Remember, Reckless was farming bot lane, had just recalled. He would never even get close to this fight. So greedy approach from Fnatic, getting punished. Might get something on V. Hook misses again. Clyde's not really been performing this game, being caught out as well once. And Fnatic here just going a little bit too eager for a few kills. Let's see the situation again. So they want to try and see if they can steal this Rift Herald. That's ulti used by Gamsu, and most of the damage from Fabian onto Moore, because he's blocking very beautifully here, all the damage. And then Uzi's there. Look at your minimap. Reckless is in base. Clyde's running from base as well. This was a 3v5 from Fnatic to try and stop a Rift Herald.
Yeah, that seemed like a bit of a desperate play there. Top turret will go down. Consequence of backing away and buying items and just chugging up that gold. Finished it off, Gamsu. There's a good lad. Don't let it get away from you. We've seen that happen in the past. But it does only equate to an 800 gold differential. Well, make that 1200 now, because they've just got a
Yeah, but 4 kills, 3 of them on Uzi. Super strong mid game coming in from QG. Put the Zed in your side lane, put Uzi in mid lane to put pressure. He has a lot better wave clear than a Kalista has. So he can actually fast push in the lane, and then he can leave the lane, his support can leave, his jungler can leave, and start going to side lanes and just apply pressure across the map because you're pushing first in mid. Because Febiven has to go and follow Zed. Febiven is the only man who can deal with the Zed. So he has to follow him around at this point, which means you lose that wave clear. Kalista doesn't really offer it. She can hit the minions and take them down after time, but she can't really defend. And Doomby taking some damage.
Lands the hook, but doesn't have enough to follow it through. QG, plenty of support coming up there. Gonna keep my eye on all these swiftness boots. They start to clock in. We've already got 4 of them on the map. It is kind of the thing to do these days. I think it was Eva that had
5 of them.
5 swiftness boots yesterday, yeah. So we'll keep our eyes on that one. But as it is, Fnatic, as expected pre-game before the pick and bans, in trouble. I mean, we knew they were up against it here, against the Chinese. RNG clearly showed up very well yesterday, and immediately that put doubts into everyone's mind about how Fnatic would fare against QG.
Yeah, I think a lot of it also comes down to maybe Fnatic tunnel vision a little bit too much on getting that 2v2 lane with Reckless and Cly after the lane swap, despite being behind. Yes, okay, Gamsu could win his top lane, but it's a lot harder to deal with the 2 members pushing bot side and also support then invading into your jungle, setting up these tower dives. Gamsu is ahead though, and Graves will become fairly tanky. Obviously goes for Sterix and more, and all these bruiser items that makes it so hard for an assassin like Zed to kill anything, not the more, but the Sterix. And also Reckless can go for a 3rd item
QSS
to stop the Zed ulti, and then you run out of targets because Hourglass will come in from Febiven.
And that appears to be what Fnatic are reading into this. They basically just said, okay, Gamsu's ahead, way ahead. Let's just keep him off on his own, keep him split push farming. Obviously let Febiven go off and do the farming. And now Reckless has almost fell back into that. I'm just going to be this 3-man clump that will just try and get what I can.
But look at your minimap now, how the lane has been pushed up by QG. This is what we just talked about. Kalista cannot challenge the wave the same way a Lucian can to just instant push out. Even an Echo in the jungle has pretty decent wave clear when he moves into a lane. So it allows QG to always push in mid and then walk into the enemy jungle. Because you can see Fnatic sit on the tower and farm. You walk into jungle, you put a vision, and that means Febiven has to then back away. He can no longer challenge the Zed because he doesn't know who's appearing behind him. And therefore, all of Fnatic has to play passive all of a sudden because you're losing the mid lane push every time. Reckless once again at his tower.
Okay, well, Gamsu just shoved that top wave. Let's see if they can do anything about this one. Chagu, they have got the teleport on V. Should they require it, he's just going to
please
keep a hold of that. Spirit, going to get caught out there.
Gets the ward in his face. Kills it out one more time. We're pushing mid lane for QG over and over and over. That's always step 1. Step 2 then is either go into jungle, put wards, or chip some damage on this tower. Get a few hits every time while your support moves in, and you can just keep the pressure going. Because you don't need to win the game in 3 minutes. Like, you can do this for another 5 minutes and you will get that mid tower opening up the map. And Fnatic has very few plays they can make other than trying to outplay you. QG mechanically are very, very gifted players. So those outplays from Fnatic has to come as a team, not one by one by one.
We'll see at the moment. Situation normal, it would appear, and it's very static. Okay, now Fnatic. Now be careful now. This is the Rift Herald being started up again. We saw what happened last time. They are slowly shifting into position. You can see Clyde coming across, but he's going to be a little too late. They have the vision of it. And that will, of course, be picked up by Chaogu. So advantage continuing to go in favor of the Chinese team. Second Rift Herald picked up.
And we're back in the side lanes. But with the Rift Herald being spotted, and so far only side lanes being pushed up, Febiven did have a chance if he wanted to go for an outplay, but also just to ward defensively one more time. Because he's just trying to wait for the opening. Where he sees a chance, he can try and jump in. If he kills the Zed, you break the split push completely. You break the 1-3-1, and then Fnatic can move forward. Put pressure on towers. Maybe take a dragon so it doesn't start having this situation where dragons just keep coming into QG, and then you get 5 dragons at some point if the game keeps going on and on.
So while we got a little bit of a stalemate, we might as well, you know, continue on with life advice.
Please.
You got nothing to offer the crowd today? I mean,
I felt like we taught them enough yesterday.
Okay. So what was yesterday? What was the education lesson?
Lee.
What were we going along the lines of?
Well,
put you on the spot here.
It's on Reddit. You can just go and watch it one more time if you want to see it. I don't think...
Safety first.
Safety first.
Safety first.
That's the point, and that's actually what Fnatic is trying to do with all these defensive works here. Safety first.
Do you keep your flash on D?
I personally keep it on F, just again to break your little conversation here.
I'm a D person.
Are you? You like the D?
I like the flash on D. Oh, Forbiven's gonna have to use that flash to try and get away.
Dead.
He's popped, he's dead. No escape. Spirit Rush was not gonna save him.
And this is basically what QG were waiting for, constantly. Get into that jungle. Febiven finally oversteps almost. Doesn't have Hourglass yet, so he can actually get popped. Goes down, and now suddenly the 1-3-1 is paying off for QG, and they haven't really been under pressure at all. This is just slowly playing it out correct. No mistakes being done by QG at the moment.
And this is a problem. But there is a gigantic gulf building for Gamsu. He is just going to continue spiraling out of control if they don't start to deal with him. But with Doinby and Uzi playing the way they are, they have the advantage still in their favor. You see Gamsu come along. He's the gatekeeper right now, effectively. But the problem is, he's a squishy target. And we could easily see, you know, the Swift and Doinby combo just piling straight on. So it's like, okay, this guy's fair. Let's get him.
You can do it as long as the defensive items are not completed. Like, that's basically what Fnatic is waiting for. That's why they're not trying to make any plays at all. So that's why we have this fairly slow-paced mid-game, where it's all about QG applying pressure, taking every objective they can, dragons. If you can get some damage on tower, take jungle camps away, you go for it. They actually mistimed this blue buff. They even had a pink ward placed on it. And then they recalled and went back in time for blue buff to spawn. So that's a mistake by QG. Gives some gold to Febiven, gives more mana as well for him to push it out, and obviously you don't want to give him any advantage.
Well, pressure on the mid lane. Don't think we're going to be able to keep them away from this too long. You can see Spirit having to use that ulti. Actually landed it very well on Uzi.
Good combo.
Dispersed him in a good position, and if Klai had been just a little bit closer, could have maybe followed it up with something, but as it is, Fnatic, that's a good job. Bearing in mind the Dragon has just respawned to send the AD carry back, gives them a chance.
Hourglass completed for Febiven. Missing Hurricane, then QSS from Reckless, and then Fnatic might say, now we are ready to fight. Really good play by Spirit, putting in the barrel, it charges up, then he knocks Uzi into it with his ulti, and by, as you said, by poking him down, you slow down QG, because now he's forced to base, and it's all that matters, just get them into base. Don't let them take your mid tower, don't let them take your bot tower. Febiven will be more than fine now with Hourglass completed.
The pink ward battle continues.
We're gonna get action, don't worry. It's gonna like, give it 5 more minutes and we're gonna get big fights.
So good. Well, there's the Dragon. We'll see whether Fnatic
they're gonna give it up.
Yeah, there's no way they can get close to this one.
You need Reckless ready to fight.
So second one goes across to them. Gamsu did try and apply the pressure in that top lane on V, but wisely steps away as the Dragon is collected. Now it's just gonna rotate down the river and see if they can get themselves anything. Not a lot of vision in that river right now, either for Fnatic. We know that Chagu like to go for these early Barons. We'll see whether they fancy it, maybe try and quicken the pace of the game.
Yeah, I think they should have. Not Baron specifically.
Not just yet.
But force tower dives almost, because you've been able to push bot lane every time and move into the jungle first. Go towards mid lane and pressure it with 5 members.
And you've got an Echo and Zed. That's like perfect to tower dive.
So you
in and out instantly.
Push your side lanes and then move Nautilus and Zed towards the mid lane, because that forces Fnatic to then step away from mid lane, wait for them to clear the side lanes before they can do anything, and then you get more damage on mid tower. QG is just playing it like they're doing the first few steps. The last step that actually gives them this mid tower opens up the map even more. They haven't been able to complete yet because they are not accepting the fact they can't just push 3v3 in mid. They have to apply pressure from sides, move into mid, force Fnatic to step back or dive them if they stay, and then you can take mid tower. Obviously, again, we're far enough into the game that you can start baiting the Baron and then potentially get a team fight there.
Well, we've switched into this interesting situation where the mid laners have all to do they're up against. We can see Forbiven's in the top lane. V was down there. He's just going to join the rest of his team while the pressure gets forced on. That means Gamsu is off the side against Doinby. Now, will he fancy going for the challenge? I doubt it.
The reason they can put him there is because he has Sterix completed. Yep. Gives him enough HP coming with the shield to probably survive the burst from his Zed. I wonder though, if it's a good combo, I want to see if they can actually break through it. I don't think so, and that's why Fnatic are fine putting Gamsu here. Problem is you don't have TP versus TP for QG. You want actually V on bottom side now, so you can bait a Baron and he can always TP in. If he's on top side, that bait is kind of gone because your Zed is sitting bot lane. He can never really join, so Fnatic knows they're not starting Baron. So they actually have to swap the lanes around at this point.
Fnatic are winning the swiftness race right now. 4v3.
Ah, well done.
Stacked in there, just waiting to see what the final conversion will be for Forbiven. Hanging on for quite a while, actually, before getting his tier 2 boots as a mid laner.
It's fine.
He has got the his ulti to just dash out, although it didn't work out the last time.
And also, Outlast is such an expensive second item.
Yeah.
You don't want to buy the boots, spend like 800 gold on that, and then wait for Outlast even longer because it's such an important one. Reckless got his Hurricane. Boys, we are waiting for the QSS coming in. Next time he goes back, but he needs like about 1,000 gold more.
Fly just going to get out of the stun in time. Swift looking to try and create an opportunity there.
Good for mid lane though.
They realize something is up here. They're grouping for it. They're going to get in defensive position. They realize that Chaogu clearly looking to try and make a play here. They don't have V with them. And as mentioned, he has got that teleport anytime he wants to get down there.
Yeah, he needs to be bot side. You want to have the threat of rushing in at a Baron because you got 4 pink wards in the river near the Baron. It's just gone when V is sitting on top side.
Well, they've gone back to standard positions. Gamsu back against Doinb.
So mid lane tower must go down soon. I mean, come on, what are you guys
Just use his ulti there, actually, to push onto that. Just use his ulti to clear the wave and shove them all back and then just get those last couple of shots. So, mid-turret finally down. That opens up the map a fair amount for Chaogu. They have got far better ward coverage than Fnatic. They are finally getting their timing right. They will be stealing away the blue buff. It's going to cause Forbiven a few problems, a few lesser cooldowns, a little bit less mana, but he doesn't really worry about the mana. So V.
They should force a fight soon though, Lee. I'm promising you we're gonna get a fight soon. Problem is, in this meta, once you get into late game, or sorry, mid game and like, you know, early late game, levels go up, death timers are so long, so like one lost fight can basically lose you the entire game at this point, especially if you're Fnatic because you push so far back.
TSM learned that yesterday.
Yes, exactly.
That's something Fnatic don't want to fall for. I mean, Fnatic right now, they're basically in don't make a mistake mode. Just play it safe, play it careful, play it a little bit more aggressive there. Yeah, Gamsu feeling far more confident now he's got that QSS complete. No fear of Doinb anymore.
And I think Fnatic can start playing more aggressive. Again, we're waiting for Reckless with the QSS, but because Zed is sitting bottom lane and you have TP there against him, you can actually walk into the river and start clearing out these pink wards. Because if QG wants to fight you, Zed has to leave the bot lane and start running there, and then you can just back away. If he stays, you take the fight and you TP in and it's a 5 versus 4 and you sacrifice the tower, but you get a big team fight which can result in more kills. Because right now you're just so far back on the map, but again, they're just waiting for these items, and there we go, QSS for Reckless. Fnatic are saying, it's time to start playing the game.
Let's see how that handles. Gamsu just trying to get himself a Krug. I should tell a lie, he was down at the Gromp. Pink ward on Swift's face. Swift did just take a quick burst from Forbiven, and finally, a group in, they're looking for some action.
The last 10 minutes, Fnatic has been standing towards their own side of the base. They haven't even crossed the river. What happens? Instant items are there. Pink wards getting killed.
QSS, yeah, in place.
Doinb is on bottom side though. Gamsu should be there to just challenge him, and he will. He's on his way. And then now we have this point where Fnatic are feeling like they can actually fight.
Stutter steps from V, but Gamsu down to challenge him. Immediately will force him away. Feels, has he got tanky enough to deal with him? Well, he's going to have support if he needs it. And maybe a 4-man dive on towards Gamsu would certainly quicken things up. But the dragon control very much in the hands of the Chinese. And this will be the 3rd stack now. Starting to become a little risky for Fnatic.
Yeah, still you only gotta get one dragon to kind of break this 5 dragon streak coming in from QG, and the next one should be where Fnatic are ready to fight. I've said that probably 10 times now. But that's a recall, pick up a few more items, and now you're back on the map. You're still behind though. I mean, that's the thing. You might be stronger right now, but you are still behind, and Uzi is on 3 kills.
Max range ulti from Uzi just catching Reckless, but he'll just lifesteal that all back, no problems there. Ping wall battle continues. Doinb getting a little bit more poke onto Spirit, just trying to catch somebody out of position, but nobody falling for it. Fnatic been very disciplined, honestly, over the last 10 minutes not to get caught out of position. We saw it yesterday, just how brute subtle it can be, even with a big advantage. And this is not a big advantage. This is just a what, 2.5, 3K gold differential between the two teams. We saw much bigger differences turned over yesterday by just a simple catch of one player at the right time.
And just small things happening on the map. Febiven pushes out top lane. That means his team can rotate mid because a non-teleport user has to go clear out the wave and they can push in mid. And it's just super small things that give you like 1 or 2 extra wards, which can then lead into 1 or 2 extra kills, potentially if you catch someone out or if you know you can take a fight because you have full vision. So it's super, super small things. Obviously not always very interesting to watch because it's so slow paced, but it is just the correct way to play it because you can't just start rushing 5-man into mid lane. Then you just open up to getting flanked and then you die.
Well, I mean, if you look at Chinese teams of the past,
they have tried.
They have tried this.
And then QG has killed them.
Sometimes succeeded. Not so often, though, but Swiftest boots, all even now. It's all good. It's my own little mini game going on there. 4v4.
Uzi breaking it, wants the cooldown reduction build on Lucian.
And, of course, Force boots for Forbidden. You'd expect that. He needs that penetration, after all. So, 30 minutes gone. 5 kills in this game so far. Definitely slowing the pace down after the early aggression. It was needed though. Fnatic started to fall behind. They still are. But they are still just at 3 towers apiece. Nobody pressuring for those tier 2 turrets yet. Nobody's really even attempted to go for these tier 2 turrets yet. They have literally stared back and forth at one of each other. But the banner of command coming into action now from V, just trying to keep
nothing
Gamsu
against Graves
on pressure. Yeah, he's just going to keep on popping that.
Good item if he's against Febiven, but he won't be. So Cly, can he land a hook?
Yes, he can. Doinb caught out. QSS used immediately. They try to go aggressive, but look at the damage they get down. They try and catch on towards him. Doinb finally caught out the exhaust. He turns
nice
on
charm.
towards Cly. Doinb will catch him out. The charm was perfect, and Cly actually lives as well. Gets through the pop. It did give the tier 2 turret, though, to Xiaogu, and that, no matter what you say, is a much bigger objective.
Fnatic could rush Baron now to force a fight potentially because there's still 40 seconds on the Z. Push down this mid lane here, wait for your members to show up. Yes, Ari doesn't have ulti, but you want to take a fight now, 5 versus 4, and you want to make up for the fact you just lost a bot tower. At least clear out the pink wards in the river so you gain something from this. I still think they can actually start it. They should just start Baron here, in my opinion, and take the team fight.
Well, Reckless is busy.
Well, they played super safe.
He went for the Grom. And they did play super safe. They didn't even clear out the pink wards. Clyde just held defensive posture. And Jaguar were totally ready for that. They were already moving into position.
Yeah.
They were expecting it. And probably...
But you wanted them to, because you wanted to just disengage from Baron after and then take the fight onto them. Still TP and Gamsu. This means you actually didn't gain anything. You got a kill, but you lost bot tower.
Yeah, you actually lost.
Yeah, you lost golden. The only thing you got was the summoners of the Z, so he has to be careful. And that's about it. So Fnatic can push up one more time. It's going to be around Baron. They have to set up fights. When you have Kalista, other team sleeps for 5 seconds, Baron is dead.
But hey, Fnatic got a kill.
They got a kill.
That's something.
First kill.
Something. It took, what, 2 ultis, I think it was? Yeah. 2 ultis, Kalistas and Forbivens.
Sick charm, though, by Forbidden when he saw the Z ulti. Saved Cly. And now QG, once again, is in control. Zed should not be able to actually push up bot lane. If he does, he should get killed.
In control's on the main stage right now doing StarCraft.
Is he? Let's call him in.
Jeff.
How about QG being in control?
He'll know all about that, I'm sure. But as it is, not a great deal happening here, boys. This is a bit of a quiet one, bit of a League of Legends and chill type affair going on.
Yeah. We're supposed to be more aggressive, honestly, in the early to mid game. I feel like we lied to all the viewers. Instead,
kind of lacking the chill part because there's just nothing to get excited about. No sexy time going on here, that's for sure.
Killing a lot of minions and wards. That's been about it for this game.
Well, we're seeing people approaching the 400 CS mark. And that's when you know we're going to be going the distance here. It is going to be Uzi that will hit it first, no doubt about it. 386 CS. Soon
we will get a fight because Dragon is spawning in 30 seconds.
I'm starting to disbelieve you because you said this about 20 minutes ago.
I mean, we have to get a fight at some point when 5 Dragons are coming in for QG. Fnatic has to do something. They're putting them, their top laners on top side because they want to fight for Dragon now. So Fnatic are ready to fight. There's no flash on the Z. You have QSS, you have Outlast. Like, this is literally your best time to fight now.
And look at their positioning. They're all starting to take control of the river. They want this dragon this time around. And Xiaogu realize it. There's going to be Gamsu. He's back into base, going to make sure he gets that last item before he TPs in as required. Looks like V wants to try and interrupt him, no. But he was spotted going back, so V
Fnatic has to fight.
Won't go for it. They have to force the way in here. Okay, Dragon started off. Here comes the teleport. Gamsu teleporting in. And Xiaogu immediately back away. Tried to get a flank from V there. That's a good ulti coming out from Uzi. They're going to catch on towards them. That's going to be Spirit called out. Reckless pulled out of the danger, but the damage is coming out from Xiaogu. They are absolutely wrecking Fnatic in this one. They're still clumped up, and that is a perfect situation. Doinby, though, goes down. Gamsu hasn't quite got enough flashes out there. Forbidden tries to get around the back line. Forbidden can get himself a double. It's going to go to Reckless. He gets around the side. Gets him down to 2v2. V very low. Uzi just trying to keep them away. There's this big danger from Uzi. He's going to get himself back life stealed up. But we go for a 3-for-3 in the end. Nobody gets close to taking Dragon.
That's good. That's more fighting.
Yeah, it's very good. I'm excited.
So basically, this almost looked super, super bad for Fnatic at first because the entire engage is onto V. He TPs in here, setting up a potential flank, then realizing he can't because Fnatic is backing away. So all they're doing now is hitting him, and then they engage from QG at the same time. Super good coordination in, forcing QSS from Reckless and getting a lot of damage at the same time. And then in this little choke point here, you're just fighting them. February hasn't been able to do enough yet. Jumps in with the last charge, popped the Hourglass. Gamzu's able to hit, and Reckless is killing the Grump at the same time, also to lifesteal back. And this jump from February is so key, picking up 2 kills, or part of 2 kills. And it's a 2-for-2. No one has gotten the Dragon, remember? Everyone is now back alive once we get out of replay.
And the position advantage, you can see Reckless playing it. There's Fnatic picking up the Dragon. Don't think Xiaogu are going to get close. Doinby's coming in. Uzi's coming in. V's coming in. And they are going to get out alive. Reckless takes that lantern. Spirit flashes out of the danger. And Xiaogu finally relinquish their power, their grasp on the Dragon. But back in that team fight, Reckless' positioning, he QS there, splashed out, was on next to no health. There was about 100, 200 hit points, would have been taken down easily, but they had that little choke point around the Gromp that Uzi just couldn't get into him. He couldn't get the damage down, and it was almost ineffective for a moment until he decided to dive in.
Super, super close fights, and we're going to get more of those. And Fnatic are still in their position. They can't lose a fight. They will lose the entire base. Obviously, we can almost say the same for QG at this point because outer turrets are gone. So it's just tier 2 towers, and with the super long death timers, so little you can do. And that's also why it's so tense between the teams. No one wants to make that super aggressive play unless they really have to. Around the Baron, around the Dragon.
They've left the tier 2 exposed here. Swift doing a good job at completely zoning them away from it. They're going to get some free damage down when that minion wave comes in. Gamsu had TP'd back, recalled back to base, so he does come back from the base entrance, and Reckless, of course, will clear it out and build up that big meaty shield, finally, with that Bloodthirster.
And it's fun how both teams have abilities to dive onto each other. But if you are a Fnatic, you most likely want to just focus on trying to kite back, survive the Z ulti when it comes in, the damage he can deal, QSS or Hourglass it, and then try and take him down or force him to jump back. The same with Echo. Echo is going to dive backline, jump back with these ultis. So like you have 2 champions diving in, dealing damage onto Reckless and Febiven, and then jumping out again. But when you have like this double AD carry comp, a Thresh as well, you don't want to put Thresh really in your front line. He's not tanky enough. He kites back, he peels, trying to land on someone out. So Fnatic is just about surviving that engage that happens, force them to ulti back defensively, and then you can turn it around. Also, Kalista does well in these longer fights, where a Lucian is so good at jumping in, dealing instant burst damage, and trying to take down a target.
They're also trying to catch me out with the QSSs and Zhonyas. They're just trying to throw in everything in there. Every little bit disparity to get out. Everybody's going to have flashback available before they go into this next fight. They're all just about coming off cooldowns here, there, and everywhere. But Gamsu, good little catch for him.
So ZZ Rod as an item is very good on tanks when you are split pushing. I just don't like it when you're against AD carries like Graves, because it's too easy for him to take down the ZZ Rod and also the Voidlings. He doesn't really get pressured by it. I'd rather see you just go full on team fight. So like a Spirit Visage instead would have given you more HP. Swift
caught out. Good hook from Clyde there. Finally delivers, but they're going to turn the attention back onto Clyde there. Has to tank out the damage. Moore gets the ulti down. Reckless all caught out. Manages to flash out, but Clyde's in trouble. He will get taken down. They dive on towards Reckless. He can't get away from that much aggression. Swift's going to get caught out. It's a 3-for-0 and make it 4 because Gamsu decides to join the party round the back. Not entirely sure why. He's going to try and run them on a merry dance, trying to lead them away, just delay things, while Forbiven tries to keep them off this turret. Simple control right now. That exhaust is not going to help out. Uzi's going to jump in this one. Zonyas is not going to save him. Uzi is godlike. What a performance from him. 7-0-4. And that may well have just gifted half the base to Xiaogu Reapers.
And trying to go late game against QG, I mean, you're playing right into their super strong late game fights. Great engage. They tried to catch Swift, didn't happen, and now they're just finishing the game. That's how fast it goes.
Fnatic, they played it so delicately. They went looking for the fight, and Xiaogu met them on the battlefield. It will be the Chinese team meeting SK Telecom T1. The battle will reignite itself once again between Uzi and Faker. Will he get revenge? That will be the next match. We will find out. But after Fnatic, it's the old NA-EU all over again.
I like the pick a ban phase from Fnatic, what they tried to do, but by going down bottom lane after the lane swap to take 2v2 while being behind, it kind of ruined the entire purpose of the comp. Because it meant they had to wait for such a long time to play aggressive, even with Kalista and Thresh. Fell so far behind, and then, as we talked about, one mistake. They tried to catch out Swift, he turns it around, great stun from him. Fight is on, instant, they just destroy Fnatic and win the game.
We had around 25 minutes of nothingness and 5 minutes of craziness, and then GG.
Was it even 5 minutes? It was like 2 fights.
35 minutes, and it's 40-minute game. It finished at 40 minutes 13. So yeah, that just happened. What do you think then? Okay, overall, you felt that Fnatic had the good team pick. They just didn't use it, really.
Again, it's after that lane swap.
Yeah.
Reckless and Clyde losing 2v2, being behind in experience, and then when I felt like Fnatic actually had chances to force something in a potential 4v5, they played it extremely safe. Like, we can rewatch that moment where they kill the Zed and lose the bot tower. You have a Kalista, is that the time to rush Baron and just say, you know what, guys?
Let's go aggressive.
We might get a team fight here. 4 versus 5. Yes, okay, our Ahri doesn't have ulti, but instead of us always being on the back foot, always being reactive, it just means it's so easy for QG to pick the right fight.
Well, you can see the players digesting exactly what went wrong, where did it go with Coach Taylor. But you guys at home, don't forget to check out the theScore eSports app for all the scores, articles, everything about the games that are happening today and throughout the competition at the Intel Extreme Masters here in Katowice. There's Counter-Strike, StarCraft, League of Legends, of course, Heroes, Rainbow Six, everything is going on throughout the day here throughout the expo hall and at the Spodek.
Yeah.
But for now, we're going to get over to the analyst desk. I believe they are ready to try and break that one down. Trevor is standing by.
Indeed, I am, and very excited to talk about that game. Let's get through the first sort of 10 minutes of gameplay. What did you make of QG's early game? The very successful tower dive that they had on Reckless and Clyde down bottom, and, you know, some of the pressure that we saw around the Rift Herald. Let's start that one off, Crepo.
I mean, they didn't horrendously lose the lane swap. They were a little bit behind in tempo, yes, because they went for the invade, but it came at least at a jungle cost.
I mean, they had the more successful invade of the two, though, so they immediately got some sort of advantage there, and honestly, they looked, compared to what we have seen, it was a massive improvement in that lane swap. Massive.
Yeah, not to be understated. And just, they really found a creative opening, moving the Zed down bottom. Eventually, they paid the price in their tier 1 mid lane turret, but it just kind of put Reckless behind, and it kind of locked down Fnatic in a very passive mode, where then later on, they struggled to make that very frantic play around the Rift Herald. And that those two plays, the dive on the bottom lane, with Zed on Reckless, and then later on the Rift Herald, for me, sealed the deal in the early to mid game.
Well, Crepo, before we get to the mid game and the late game, let's pull up that Rift Herald fight, because after giving up first blood and then falling behind in some global gold, Fnatic lost this team fight and then really put the brakes on. So roll this one out for me.
Yeah, the biggest difference here is QG, they're on the same page. They know what they want to do here, and Fnatic's not like, look, Graves ulti is coming over to desperately try and steal, but QG, they don't actually care about the Herald. They will just fight you. Good exhaust here, and just overall, they just fight way better. Look at all these, abilities like working together to just straight up win and murder that fight for QG.
Well, it was straight up a 5v4.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at the map there, Reckless was below the dragon in the bottom side river, and Doinby was making a beeline for that Rift Herald pit. If you fail to steal with the Graves ult, like you're saying, just leave.
Yeah, and then even
walk
if you steal
away.
Yeah.
Because you know where Zed is. You know he's coming. You know it's a 5v4. Why stay? You don't even have all your abilities up anymore.
Yeah, Reckless just based from bottom lane, from pushing. So this play was utterly predictable. Like, they had a ward in the pit too. They knew everything was... They had all the variables locked down going into it, and they still made the wrong decision. And that, for me, is very worrisome for Fnatic, because they seem to be very afraid to pull the trigger. And then when they do pull the trigger, the gun happens to be pointed at themselves, and they kind of just lose the game off that.
Well, gentlemen, we've got that replay coming up shortly. The next 20 minutes, Fnatic were able to successfully stall out. They didn't give up a whole lot. They committed for a Z kill, lost
Blue
a
trinkets,
tower.
man.
Blue trinkets all the way, but they stalled the game until they hit a power spike. Let's pull up the second replay, which was the gigantic team fight around the blue buff. And maybe, Monty, talk us through what you're seeing in terms of this fight.
Well, we did see the early Graves recall, which actually did telegraph this fight quite a bit. Now, obviously, you can't recall if you're standing next, or teleport if you're standing next to a Nautilus, but he goes back for one more buy. But again, everybody knows what's going on, so we see a more aggressive TP position here. The choke is actually clogged. I think that parallel convergence came too early, actually, from Echo, because they allow this collapse to happen because it did come down early. But then they're going to hook onto V, and then look at everybody just coming over the wall. Fantastic Braum ultimate onto Fnatic, and now they're starting to kite out. Obviously, the knock-up from the Nautilus ult also hits 3 people, and it looks really, really bad for Fnatic right here. But Gamsu's quite tanky, and he's able to get in the front lines and clog up the choke point right there with his Q. And then the great Zhonya's Hourglass comes in on the re-engage from Febvin.
Yeah, right here. This is where Febvin wins the fight back for Fnatic. They lost the fight earlier. So many teams, when the Nautilus is in that little corner there, they will panic flash out and they're like, okay, I'm here. One guy's on the right side, 4 on the left side. Well, logical decision, I will flash over into safety. No. QG, they were communicating, okay, let him closer, closer, closer. More jumps over with his stand beside or stand behind me, whatever it's called. Then against the 3-man ulti, 2-man knock up in the backside. You get the Nautilus depth charge that start knock everybody up. Like, this very, very clutch, small death ball area is where QG want to fight, and Fnatic completely gets surprised by the turn on the Nautilus, and luckily for them, Febvin has a fantastic outplay at the end, but that was just another showing of how good QG are at reading these fights and how well they communicate, because they were all on the same page. Yeah. You didn't see anybody, oh, we're fighting, all on the same page, all with the same goal in mind.
If Febvin didn't have a couple charges left on his Spirit Rush there, they would have been absolutely wrecked in that fight. The fact that he was able to Zhonya's and then continue to use the Spirit Rush to help clean up those last 2 kills, like you're saying, I agree, is absolutely clutch. But it was just such an intelligent use of the terrain. What did they have? They had a bunch of line skill shots. Braum ult, Time Winder, because Echo popped over that wall too. And then when everybody's in that corridor, when they're trying to kite out, getting that depth charge down, 2 huge knockups. It's actually surprising that that fight went even.
On top of that, the Braum shield too. What do you have coming in at you? You have all line missile skill shots. Well, guess what? You know, pop a shield in front of it. Graves nullified, Ahri nullified in the worst case. That is why Braum is such a good power pick, because they managed to position more in positions where he can have such a large impact. Compared to what Cly was doing, 1 hook, and he's a piece of paper. He literally melts.
Hold that thought for a second. I want to talk a little bit more about what we've learned from both Fnatic and QG Reapers. For now, Shox is standing on stage with Uzi.
Thank you very much, guys. Indeed, congratulations, Uzi, and thanks for assisting here in the translation. I want to ask you about that early game first up. You guys are always so aggressive, but in this one, it was very methodical as well. Can you walk me through how you got so far ahead in this early game versus Fnatic?
其实你们这场比赛跟 Fnatic 你们前期不是压制了 Fnatic 很大，然后就可以谈一下你们是怎么就是这种的压力。
我觉得，因为我们在前期可能就是选择主动换线，可能让他们有点措手不及吧，然后就在前面就打得很顺畅，然后就一直这样压下去，也没有给对手机会吧。
So he said that he thinks that because they had a very successful lane swap, he said that maybe it threw Fnatic off a bit, and then because of the lane swap, you know, they were able to play things out very smoothly.
It was very noticeable. They were very good in that lane swap. Is that something that they have particularly focused on coming into this tournament?
就你们在这次的比赛是不是很关注这种换线的打法吗？
对，因为我们觉得就是换线可能迅速推塔，然后因为我们这边 是准备打4-1分推嘛，然后就决定就是会让杰一直去分带，然后就希望大家都能好好的发育吧。
So he said that he does think that lane swapping for them is pretty important. So when they came into this competition, they like lane swapping because they can push turrets very quickly. Also, they like going for that 4-1 split push, and because it also gives the players some time to farm.
Definitely does, and you got very much ahead, Uzi. How important is it for you to have this good first game, very good first game here, knowing that, of course, Pico is also here, the other AD carry for your team?
就你在这第一场比赛就表现得很好嘛？那你觉得这对你个人来说是不是很重要？因为毕竟你们 QG 也是有带了一个替补，然后你们的替补也是 ADC 嘛 ，Pico。
我觉得，发挥的都是看团队吧，因为我和我们的另外一个 ADC 都会轮换着上场嘛，然后就是可能更看重于当时的表现嘛，所以说。就是大家的发挥都很看重嘛，都挺重要。
So he said that the success comes from the team. So as to him and Peko, they take turns playing, and then whether or not who is more successful also depends on the entire team.
Very diplomatic. Next up, you're up against SKT, the reigning world champion, and Bang had an exquisite performance in Game 1. How do you think that matchup is going to play out?
就你们下一把就跟 SKT 对打嘛，然后他们毕竟也是刚刚赢了 S5，还有 Ben 刚才也是表现得特别好，然后你个人觉得会怎样？
我觉得很强吧，然后一直看他比赛就觉得他挺强的，然后也没有对战，就是一起对战过吧，就是很期待等下可以就是和他打。
So he thinks that Bang is a really strong player, and from some of the games that he's seen Bang play, Bang is also really strong. And he said that because he's never actually played against Bang before, he's really excited to play him this time.
That's going to be a great match. Good luck on that one, and congratulations. Thank you, Uzi. Very diplomatic, as always. Take it back, guys.
Thank you very much, guys. We will have a China versus Korea winners match final coming up. SKT taking on the Xiaogu Reapers. I think I was relatively impressed with Fnatic that game. They had a few early game mistakes, but then they stalled out long enough to be relevant. In contrast to some of the performances in the EU LCS, where they've fallen behind, made more mistakes, we didn't see that on them. Admittedly, QG was not applying a lot of pressure either.
I just want them to play Corki, Trevor. That's what I want.
Monty's a simple man.
I'm a simple man.
Corki open. I pick Corki.
Nobody even picked Corki.
Be like Monty.
Corki's so strong. Just play Corki.
For me, it's like Fnatic, yes, they kind of stalled, but I mean, what did they build? They built themselves a pick comp, and then they go in a lot of these situations with ultimate hesitation. Like when they caught the Wimbledon jungle, yeah, they killed him. Could have killed him 5 seconds earlier if they were actually, okay, go, go, go. If you see how that last team fight played out, do you think anybody on the side of QG was hesitating? The call was go and everybody went forward, and they just almost blindly follow it. And they surprised me sometimes when I watch them. I'm like, there's no way they're going to get all these kills here. Maybe one guy. Train keeps going. They never stop. And Fnatic was like, okay, we hit a skill shot. Now what? Guys, do we go? Okay, let's go. Follow up. Do we want to face call? Okay, everybody in unison. Everybody votes yes. Okay, let's go then. It's so delayed in their decision making. And if you want to make a pick comp, sure, you can use your fog of war to your advantage to maybe stall the game, but you will never win a team fight versus a team fight composition. And they kind of, delayed their execution, and eventually it fell, and that was Fnatic.
Yeah, and it's very simple. It goes back to what is the purpose of a pick composition? To pick somebody off and then to take an objective. How you do not play a pick composition is pick somebody off, lose a tower for that pick, and then do nothing like deFicio was saying with that 5-man in response. Was it a risk to take that Baron with those ultimates down?
Yes.
Absolutely. Yes, it was. Should they have done it? I think so.
Yeah.
And it didn't work out for Fnatic, so they do fall to the QG Reapers. They will be meeting CLG in a best-of-3 a little bit later today. For now, we're going to take an ad break, and when we come back, it is SKT taking on QG for a spot in the semifinals.